Hello, let's go, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we have Domitrius Clark. Domitrius, thanks so much for joining.
Let me explain something to you. I have been waiting for this for so long. I am ecstatic to be here. You know what I'm going to be hitting while I'm here. So I'm just going to leave that until the exciting parts.
All right. I'm really excited about this because this combines several of my favorite things, right? So today we've got Dom is on the show. That's one of my favorite things. We've got some Cloudinary stuff going. That's another one of my favorite things. And then we're going to do some GraphQL stuff. And that's yet another one of my favorite things. So we got good stuff happening all around today.
I'm totally catering to your favorites. So just know that. That was my goal. I was like, how do I get on here? Excite Jason, make him like me just enough to invite me, and then learn some GraphQL so he also likes me a little more. Look at the boops rolling in.
I know. The chat's going to have to try harder than that, though, to beat that timeout if you want to actually bury us. Nikki, also, you got to learn how emotes work in Twitch. You're really letting us down right now. You need to add a space between them. That's why it's not working.
That was a large ball drop. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I think we might want to account for the fact that there's a very low likelihood we're going to get anything done today.
I came into this today expecting to just be in this mode right here where it's just us two talking.
Yes. Oh, we got a first timer today. Ear to the shell. Thank you for joining. This is going to be a weird first experience, I promise. So Dom, as you may have noticed, Dom and I have some history. We have been friends for a while. We hang out in the Party Corgi Discord, which is one of my favorites. And so for those of us who are not familiar, who don't hang out in the Party Corgi Discord, aren't familiar with your work, do you want to give us some background?
Sure. So the short and sweet of it, bootcamp graduate, 3-year software developer now, currently a advocate engineer with Cloudinary, which is really awesome. I've been building towards that kind of since the beginning of learning how to engineer. Currently super involved in community building and management. I run a meetup called Reactadelphia. We've been doing that for about a year and a half now. And just love being in the Party Corgi Discord, like you had mentioned earlier. If you haven't gotten in there yet, I highly suggest it. You're going to find that there's no funner place on the internet.
Yeah. So one thing that's cool about is it this one? Nope. Party Corgi. Where is it? There it is. Oh, Discord. I'm getting it wrong. I forgot my own commands in this chat. So one thing that's cool to bring up though is that Reactadelphia, you use two words that I think are misleading about what it is, because it's Reactadelphia, which implies Philadelphia, and you call it a meetup, which implies physical location. But Reactadelphia is a live stream meetup.
So yeah, I think one of the things that was interesting about Reactadelphia that kind of helped it blow up is even when we were in person, which was really great. I love my in-person community. They've been with me. I had started a meetup a year prior to Reactadelphia, and a lot of my meetup goers, moved into Reactadelphia once we built that. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that we did to differentiate ourselves was very early on, we were live streaming every talk. We were doing remote talks. You were actually, I think, our first round of remote talks, if not our second round. So, we started doing that, and then that just really blew up kind of what we could accomplish, because now not only could we get really awesome people in tech that were outside of Philly, we were kind of empowering Philadelphia engineers to get on stage with, alongside these people, but also to be able to learn from these people, for free. And the people that have come on and joined have been absolutely amazing. It's just been really great. And now that we're in this situation like COVID, it's been really cool to see all of the other organizations and meetups becoming remote and, reaching out for help about what that looks like. It was nice to have a little bit of a footing on kind of how to get started. And we're actually coming up on our second remote meetup next week.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, this situation sucks, and there's no the good thing about it is, but one thing that has been kind of redeeming just the overall crappiness of it has been this emergence of more online connectivity. Right. Just so many things that I think always could have been remote, but people were, there just wasn't a reason to do it. are suddenly coming online, and it has been kind of cool to see like, oh, now we can. I started playing Dungeons and Dragons with a remote group, and
That's
like
awesome.
that was always possible, but we just didn't do it because we are like, oh well, we'll just do it in person if we're going to do it.
Right.
Well, now it's not an option, so hey, let's start that group we've been talking about forever. Or like doing meetups online, doing conferences online, all this stuff that it was easy before to say, well, it's too hard to do it that way. It's been cool to see the innovation in the space and how people are figuring out how to make it work.
It's also a lot to deal with for a large amount of people, right? Like all
Mhm.
of this is new. I just joined the remote workforce, this job, that this is my first fully remote job. Now everybody's fully remote, and
Mhm.
there's that to establish as a comfort. And I think what's really cool, to your point, is that now not only are people opening up to the remote area of being able to hold conferences and meetups and group gatherings remotely, but it also helps form this kind of new style relationship in communities and friendships that you can get in person, but right now we really need,
Yeah,
due to the lack of kind of human connection that you get from being able to meet up in person.
100%. And that's something that I really loved about this Twitch stream is great. I talked to a bunch of people that I haven't really, I wouldn't have connected with otherwise, right? And so you make friends that way. The
Right.
Party Corgi Discord is like that. The Reactadelphia meetup, like all these things that are happening that like they were happening before, but they've almost become a lifeline now, and I really like that. That
Exactly.
it's a place to get that human connection where you don't have other options now.
Right.
Um, so that being said, moving on from the heavy to the silly, um, I saw a whole bunch of. there's no good segue. It's just like, well, all right, here we go. We're just gonna
That's
like
fair.
radical change of directions here. Lots of great people in the chat today. I see. Yeah, Tyler Clark's here. Ryan
We got a
Warner. Ryan
squad.
Warner Codes is now Ryan Warner Connects to the Internet, so he's back.
Wow, look at that.
Chris Biscardi's in the chat. Bobby Tables. Yes, everybody's here. I saw Angel a minute ago. So what up, y'all? Thank you so much for coming. Dom, what are we gonna do today? What do you wanna work on?
So I think, a couple of the really cool things that has been happening while I've been onboarding into Cloudinary is that I'm a first time user for Cloudinary. I had not much experience previously, and it kind of like your get share image library,
Hmm.
Chris's work with Open Graph stuff. Like those are my first time seeing Cloudinary utilized in a content creation way. And really Cloudinary used it all. So that kind of inspired me to think like, how would I want to use Cloudinary? Like if I were to get involved with using the tool itself, how would I want it to be used? Right. So for me, I build a lot of GraphQL apps. So I was like, well, how easily can I make a GraphQL endpoint that serves up some of the Cloudinary niceties and utilities? So I started building out a small kind of demoable concept of wrapping their SDK in some different mutations and queries. And I think that's the really powerful piece of GraphQL, is that it doesn't matter what you need, you can just layer over it and use it however you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
So today we'll dig in to a few of the layers that I built over some of their utilities, and we'll have a little fun with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So something that I want to talk about a little bit before we get into it is like I feel like it's important to talk about the why of Cloudinary, because it
Yeah.
on the surface of it, it sort of seems like an extra hoop to jump through. Like I got my images, I can put
Yes.
them on the internet. So why would I bother with something like Cloudinary at all?
So Cloudinary really helps you empower yourself when you're dealing with media. And let's be honest, like almost every website that you create is media focused, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have images everywhere, especially if you have videos on there. I mean, that's a pain in itself to handle yourself, right? Like we've all been down those routes. And it's funny, we coined the term media developers, and nobody really knows what that means when you
Mm-hmm.
say it, because they really don't understand how much they interact with media while in the engineering space, right? So I think what Cloudinary does really well is it extrapolates a lot of that stress and pressure and allows you to optimize images, videos, and create these kind of workflows around it that are really nice. Plus, it's a nice, digital asset management platform.
Mm-hmm.
The APIs are really well fleshed out. I mean, there's an API for almost every server. There's even the client JS SDK that I've been wrapping in some hooks lately. Like, they make it really easily approached as far as getting started with managing your media. And like I said, I'm a first time user of Cloudinary as I'm onboarding. So it's really cool to see what can we improve about the docs? What types of things feel overwhelming? And I think that's the thing about Cloudinary that kind of stops people the most is that you hop in and it's kind of like when you walk into an AWS documentation, you're like, whoa, like this is a lot. There's a rabbit hole here. There's a rabbit hole here. Do I need to know all of this to get started?
Yeah.
And what I'm starting to find out is you don't need to know all of it to get started. And it just, I mean, I'm building something right now for the hooks that I've been building. And I was able to build out a UI that managed generating social templates and using your get share image, creating customized versions of them.
Yeah.
And it was so fast. So I would say in short, if you're dealing with media, like this is the place to be. Cloudinary is the place to be.
So there's a question that's actually really relevant to this,
Cool.
which I hope is it Mitna? I hope I'm not I'm getting it wrong. Good question, Mike. Sorry. Okay, Mike.
You know what's funny? You always know you're about to butcher it. That's my favorite
I always
part.
know it's going to go poorly. Okay. All right. So Mike said, doesn't Gatsby do this for you? And so I'll answer the first part of this, and then you can tell me like what
Sure.
Cloudinary adds. So the thing about Gatsby is, so Gatsby has this really, really powerful image transformation library called Sharp installed with it. And what Sharp is it is a wrapper around some low-level stuff that will take each image and re-encode it and resize it and do color manipulation and all this stuff. And it's super powerful, like really flexible, really powerful. However, when you start using it with a lot of images, if you've got a site that say, even when you just have like a reasonable number of images, you got 500 images on your site, if you are building responsive versions of those 500 images suddenly balloon up to say like 6 images per image. Now you're at like 3,000 images. You got to re-encode all of those. And that's assuming that, like there's so many, it's just a lot, right? Like it ends up being a ton of images really fast. And so that will slow down your build times. Your images start to take minutes. And you can very quickly start to hit the point where your build times are like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And that's largely due to images. And so you can do a lot of stuff like parallelize the image processing. There's a plugin that I got to work on with Matthias Billman, who's the CEO of Netlify, to like extract out image processing into parallel processes. And it's really cool, but it requires a whole bunch of infrastructure. Cloudinary lets you do exactly the same thing, but in a different way. So Dom, do you want to talk a little bit about like what the workflow is for Cloudinary? Because that's the part that I think that's where the light bulb was for me, was when I realized how to work with Cloudinary.
Yeah, so I think one of the really important pieces of Cloudinary that, and we've even got plugins in the Gatsby ecosystem. So I think that's something that we've been pushing a lot lately, is to try and get involved with helping people see that there are Cloudinary options when dealing with all of these different technologies, right? Because I think that's the big stopper, is like, if there's a CMS that already has an image optimization flow, do you use Cloudinary? If there's a framework that is trying to deal with images in their own way. And it's funny, a lot of the time you'll find out that they're actually using Cloudinary underneath.
Like
Cloudinary,
Contentful is one that has its own image optimization thing, and that's Cloudinary under the hood, right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So the thing is that for people that are building these things, it just, we give you so many options and then make optimizing and responsiveness very easily. Like today, when we're working inside of the GraphQL endpoint, I only included a few of the options. I started defining like a transform options type inside of GraphQL. And I only did a few because there's literally so many that it allots for, that there's so many options that you can kind of combine for bringing down the most optimized version of your image. And then especially when you start to balloon, right? Like when you start to get to that large image area where you're dealing with thousands of images, like that's where the Cloudinary technology shines, because you really start to see the decrease in load time. And then like I've been using React Query pretty heavily lately. Being able to cache those, images and I don't know, it creates a workflow that you just have to be comfortable with the beginning knowledge. But once you're there, I mean, you're up and running with legitimate media management that you control. And I think that's a very important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. It's such, I feel like we should just start showing this, because it starts to really show its power once you get there. By the way, thank you so much for the sub. BJ? I'm not even going to try. I got to
keep
stop.
it at BJ. Keep it at BJ.
Thank you.
You had it, and then I don't know what happened.
Okay, so we mentioned a couple things. You mentioned Chris's work on automatically generating open graph images. This is such a good course, and it's really, really cool. Bernat. Okay, sorry. But yeah, so this setup is kind of like you use some serverless functions to send things out to Cloudinary and like auto generate some stuff. I wrote a thing that auto generates share images that's a little more like URL driven. It's a little closer to the Cloudinary like way. But what I think would be really cool is actually let's jump into Cloudinary and let's do like a live demo. What do you think?
I'm into that.
All right, so let me jump in, and I'm gonna log in.
Be careful, your API credentials are right there as soon as you log in.
Are they? Fuck. Okay, hold on. Let me.
I've made that mistake on stream plenty of times.
All right, logging in. Where's my Cloudinary? Cloudinary? There you go. Nope, not that one. This one. All right, give me just a second. Chat's gonna be so mad that you prevented them from seeing my secrets.
I know. Think of me as like a blocker. I'm like a hey.
Okay, so here's my library. I'm logged into my Cloudinary account, and I've gone to my media library tab.
There's some sick images in there.
Isn't there just so much trash in here?
You hackers, you dirty hackers.
But so let's jump in. I think I've got like a folder here of just stuff. So let's create one, and I'm doing this through the UI. Right, so I'm just going to create a new folder, and we'll just play in here today. So
that sounds good.
I've got this folder, and now let's go to like Unsplash, right? So Unsplash has all these beautiful images. Let's find a good one of a corgi. Oh, there's too many good ones.
Oh
all right.
My god.
Well, this is now just a corgi.
See, this was
stream.
I was about to say this is a rabbit hole we're not coming out of.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Watch
the end.
Chris in the chat. I bet you Chris is so hyped.
Okay, what's the best one? I don't know. I'm
Look at that. Wait. Go up a little bit. The one with the oh god, it's going down. It's going down. It's all downhill from here, dude.
We broke it. Okay.
Look at these good boys.
These ones
right here. Or girls. These could be just the goodest dogs in the world.
These might be the goodest dogs in the world. Let's do this. This is a happy dog. So I'm going to download this.
Is that Chris in dog form?
Might be. All right. So here is a great image, and I'm going to take that right out of my downloads and drop it here. Okay. So now this image, I'm going to rename it too, so that we can make it a little easier. But so we've got this image here.
I'll tell you what, public ID naming, folder naming, and tagging are important things to understand when you first start dealing with Cloudinary, because that is how you will deal with most of your assets.
Yeah. So check this out. So I'm gonna reload. All right. So this is a 1.7 megabyte image raw. Tell me, like, so if I was gonna, if I wanted to do this on my personal website, my workflow would be something like download the image, open it up in Figma or Sketch or Photoshop or something, resize it, export the image to my desktop, and then put it into something like Squoosh.app, right? And like Squoosh is amazing, and if we were to just kind of look at what Squoosh can do, I've got my
I've never
image.
seen Squoosh before.
Oh, Squoosh is dope. So check this out.
Rad.
If I like take this quality way down so we can really see the difference. This image is too big, but you see how it like shows you what happens to the image when you when you decrease the quality. But so you're able to turn it up to a level that kind of makes sense.
It's really nice.
It's super nice. And this is one of those apps that's like, it's single purpose, but it's so great. But I just made this image 75% smaller, and you can't really tell. Like if you get zoomed in, you can tell. But so then I would have to put it in here, download it again, and then I would be able to put that as the image on my website. So that workflow, and this is where I think the light bulb really goes off. So we can do all of that with Cloudinary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and what I think is really nice too, and this can be overwhelming. So this is kind of tripped me up a couple of times. Finding all of the upload options it can be a little bit overwhelming, and transformation options. But the really cool part is that Cloudinary even includes like a lot of spaces where it's like common transformations that you would have to make, sort of like this, where you're dealing with responsiveness, you're dealing with trying to make it smaller, make it more optimized for your site. They have those built into Cloudinary as well, which is really cool.
Yeah. So like you can also just do it right from the command line. So remember, this is 1.7 or from the URL. This is 1.7 megabytes. So I'm going to add two things. If I can spell them right. So I've just added quality auto and format auto, and I'm going to reload. And then Cloudinary is doing some work in the background. Look at that. We just shaved like a third of the image size off just by changing that one thing. Huge. And then if I wanted to make this like a smaller image, I could set the width to, let's say, 800 pixels. All right. Now it's 27 kilobytes. So we basically took this image, and by just adding this to the URL, we did all the work that I would have had to do by downloading, putting it into my image editor and resizing, exporting, uploading it to an image optimizer, downloading again, and then putting it into my app. And then I can just serve this straight up. Like if I go into CodePen or whatever, and I create a new pen, and I want to just show an image, I drop this in, and we got an image. And like if I want to adjust a little bit more, there we go. Here's my smaller image. So you can like do straight up art direction in the middle of your work while you do this. This is where the light bulb really went off for me. I was like, holy crap, this is some next level stuff, because it's all the stuff that I was doing manually before, but now I can automate it. I can write a function that just takes in my like this. And it'll just do all this for me.
See, it's funny too, because like I said, when I first started kind of ramping up and getting into the docs and kind of trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing, I kept looking back to, like I said, the projects that, you and Chris had made. And I was so kind of taken off because, I was like immediately digging into the SDKs. How do I start utilizing SDKs? And then I was like, wow, like they're doing all of this just with URL manipulation and adding some tags into the URL, like literally that simple. The smallest kind of like get share image is so small, right? Because it's literally just taking in
hackers, you dirty hackers.
Putting it out.
What hacked? I think you're
a hacker, fun. Dude.
I just realized I have all these presets that I've made to mess with people. How do you do? What is it? Is it L? Hold on, I got a thing for you.
Oh, to add like a named transformation?
Yeah, I think no, that's not it. What is it, T?
I'm looking it up. I actually just stumbled into this last night, which I'm going to use for, look at that.
So I did a thing.
That's the most Jason thing. This is why you have emotes in the chat. This is it. Like, can I get some let's goes in the chat? Like, come on.
But check this out too. So like I've got another one. So let's say that I want to just watermark everything on my site. I created this watermark, and now everything just shows, like it just adds that image right on top, right?
Yeah.
And we can stack them. Like if I want to do
And
this,
that's right. That's the power. Is like it's almost like having a Photoshop API. Like you can add layers, you can add borders, you can round the borders. You can add multiple layers. Like it's just crazy what you can do.
right? So basically, like you can go in and take this and you can play with it and you can do all sorts of stuff, right? It is
But
great question. What's the difference between this and Imagix?
I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. I've never used ImageX.
I believe that Imagix and Cloudinary are pretty similar. I think they're tools trying to solve the same problem. So I think the differences are going to be in nuance. Like Cloudinary does it this way, Imagix does it that way, and you just kind of make a call.
I'm gonna have to play around with ImageX.
So great question from Oh Hey Julian. What about WebP? Aha! Allow me to show you.
You just taught me this the other day.
Check it out. It's already WebP because I chose Format Auto. It automatically decided that Chrome can support WebP, and so it served that because it's a smaller format. What? What is it? What are you doing? What is that?
I keep getting cool shirts in the chat, so I wanted to show people like the full shirt.
How do you know they're not talking about my cool shirt?
Because they said, "Hey Dom, cool shirt."
I think they were talking to me. What about WebP2?
You can't just take over my identity, Jason. You can't just. It's unfair. You already have. You know what I mean? I gotta brand myself in some way. I'm the nerd who wears anime shirts on the Learn with Jason stream.
Chris, come on. Chris is piling on.
Oh. Hey, Tom, Jason has such a cool shirt. You did this. You did this.
Okay, so we're so far off topic here. What do we?
You knew this was gonna happen. I don't know what you expected. Listen, the chat came here today to learn, and they're getting corgi butts, which I mean is far more than you're getting in any other stream.
Adult supervision here.
Yeah, you and I together, we need like a third guest for adult supervision. So, all right. So, what happens next? We've looked at we've done straight URL stuff. So I want to take a look at what you've been working on because I haven't actually seen it yet. And I want to see how we can do.
I've hidden it. I've hidden it away. No, so I sent you a link on Discord to the repo.
Okay, so I will find. See, one of these is Discord. There we go. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Oh boy. Here we go. I got it. Got a link coming in. Here we go.
Boom.
All right. So this is a wrapper around the Cloudinary SDK. Is that right?
Yeah. So, basically, when I got started, it was really all about like how quickly can I get up and running with using this in GraphQL.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super simple because, with resolvers, you literally just feed in whatever data you need to be piped back into the query or mutation. And that the SDK does a lot of that nuance of, understanding how to add it in, where do I add it into the URL, stuff like that. It constructs the URL really, really easily for you.
Okay, hold on 1 second because something just happened that is extremely important.
I'm ready.
Look. Wow, we are in full nonsense mode today. Okay, look at this.
We
Eco,
are in full nonsense.
How did you do this?
Is that a basket boop?
It's a boop and a busket.
Oh my!
It's perfect. It's glorious. It's exactly what I've always wanted.
Look what he did.
It's so good. Okay. You can modify the emotes with channel points. Okay, that's good.
That's pretty rad.
That's really good. Yeah. So that's a reason. Oh my God, they put Ben just put the corgi in the basket. This is good. This is high quality. This is called
full nonsense
so
mode, and
on
I'm
board with this.
Can we just change this title to absolute ridiculousness? Because that's what we're here for.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm gonna give you a let's go at some point, like an ecstatic let's go. You're getting one.
Channel points. This is good. So now we've got the busket in a busket. Good. All right. Okay. I gotta find more fun things to do with channel points because right now I think I'm just using the defaults. In that case, we should. Let me just run. Hold on.
Should we focus up? Should we write some code?
As we get another corgi stampede.
This is going to be. I think we're going to set a record for corgi stampedes. I should add a counter for the number of corgi stampedes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right. Okay.
Anyway, I guess we have to do some work.
We should probably at least pretend to be writing some code. So how do I start? What do I do? I'm going to npm install, get the stuff. That's wrong.
Yeah. So remember, we've got a client and a server folder.
Potato salad.
So if we're gonna just hop into the GraphQL playground, you go into the server, install, and start it up there.
Okay. And then do I need? Let's poke around in here. Let's see what we got going on.
Let's say, yeah, more than happy to.
All right. So we're using Apollo. Apollo's dope. That's cool. Got Khalil coming on soon to teach us about Apollo.
I love that guy.
And then we're using Cloudinary.
What a character.
We got .env, but I don't see a .env.
Yeah, that didn't come with it. So you're gonna just need to plop in your credentials. It's gonna ask for, and I'll help you get set up with this. But if you head over to the let's see, Apollo resolvers index.js inside of your server.
Oh boy, it was so helpful that I.
Sick formatting.
Yeah, well, this thing is really cool because it hides secrets. But
that's awesome.
It hides everything until you put an equal sign after it. So like when I type over here, you won't be able to see the code.
Right. This is rad. Is this the VS Code extension?
Yeah, it's a VS Code extension. It's really, really useful.
Oh, I need that.
Okay, so my cloud name. I know
we'll cover the screen in boops to hide your API keys. That's ride or die right there.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so let me pull this off. I'm gonna get my API key. And then we'll grab the secret. Okay, those are saved and they're out of the way now. So we don't have to look at that again. And then you said to look in the Apollo schema, or where was it?
So you can go to, when you're in the server, Apollo and then index.js.
Okay.
So it'll be if you're in server, Apollo, the Apollo directory on the side, not this index, the other one, right below resolvers.
Oh, in the resolvers folder. Okay, I was looking for a different index.
Sorry. Right here is where we're setting up that config. So the Cloudinary config allows you to basically do all of the signed URL stuff automatically. So this sets up, all of that pane right up front so that anything that you do below can be signed pretty easily.
Okay, great. And then I start this with start. So let's run it. npm run start. And
maybe we can probably hop into the schema and talk a little bit about that, and then hop into or we could just hop into the GraphQL playground.
Yeah, let's hop into the schema and look at it. It's right here.
Let's look at it.
This is easier than
look at it.
Just look at it. Okay, so we've got get image URL and we've got upload image.
Yep.
All right. So upload image, is the file a URL?
So for uploading the image, it can be a multitude of things. Basically you can serve it, base encoded. You can serve it from the internet. You can grab a link and pass it in. It takes a few different things. And then we have in this, you see there's a client directory. We have a upload image form all set up. So we can go check out like how to actually use the upload mutation. But as of right now, you can just drop in a link and
I'm not even gonna look. I'm gonna straight up.
Look at that corgi.
That is a good dog.
You're on a roll today.
Now I'm just gonna try this. I'm gonna just try to use GraphQL the way that it's intended with
Yes.
fully explorable things.
I like that.
So file is a string, so I'm going to pass it this. And I'm going to see what happens when I do that.
Okay.
And then I've got upload options. And my upload options include a public ID.
All right, so hold on. Before we do that,
Okay.
know that the upload options is going to be a little bit lesser. Like I said, those are basically like the pre-eager transformation options plus the public ID. So we're going to only have a few upload options for transforming, but you'll be able to send in just the like a public ID and things like that.
And then if I do this, can I do it like LWJ and then DOM? Will that work?
Yeah, this is all based off the SDK, so I've done 0 configuration here.
Gotcha. Okay, so then I think this is all I need. Yeah. I don't know. I don't ever use any of that stuff, so let's try it. And then what I'm going to get back is a public ID. Yeah, why not? And let's get URL. Okay. Drum roll, please.
Please work.
Ooh, look at it go. All
Let's
right.
go.
And
Let's go.
Now, I think, let me get back into my library so I'm not looking at my keys anymore. All right, so let's go look now and see. I've got this one, and look at it.
Boom.
With the name already set up. So that's already,
buckets,
like,
did that just work?
that's cool.
Simple dimple.
Really cool that worked.
Easy.
And now I want to mess with it.
Thank God that worked, because I haven't touched on this in quite some time. I'm sitting here with the tight chest, like, please.
Okay, so I've got my image name. Does that work, or do I need to add the folder?
I'm pretty sure it's going to need the folder, but it might be able to just grab it off of the public ID.
Let's start simple and go further.
Yeah. Boom.
No,
It worked. No,
that's not gonna work because it doesn't have the folder.
because it doesn't have the folder. Okay.
So that just builds a URL,
which makes sense because it's
URL.
Yeah. So there's in Cloudinary's SDK, there's the image tag, which allows you to basically generate an HTML image tag with the URL appended. And then they also have a .url functionality that basically does, and this is what we were talking about when you had built that get share image. It basically does a lot of that kind of parsing to create a URL from your arguments for you.
Okay.
So I like using the URL one because I think it's better to give power to the user to allow them to kind of define their image tag however they'd like to, and then just plot the URL back to them.
Okay. So do what I did, right? And then I do transform options, and then we've got width. Okay, nice. All right, so let's do width of like 500, height of, we can leave that. Oh no, let's do this. Let's height of 500, so we'll square it up. And then the crop, what are my options? Do you remember?
So I know that it automatically gets a crop scale put on it so that you can actually create like different sized images. Let me just go double check. Cloudinary crop options.
Crop in. We can like, yes. Okay, so tons of crop modes. Scale, fit.
Oh yeah, there's literally.
Fill, thumb.
So that's definitely the probably most overwhelming piece is like coming to this image transformation reference and seeing the ridiculous amount of options that you get.
Mm-hmm. But so check this out. This one's cool. It might not work on a dog. It kind of works. So let me show you. I've got some images, I think, that we can
Which
pull
one
in.
do you go for?
I went for thumb, and it cropped a little bit weird, but like if I take these out, right? So we get this. But so let me grab another image here. Where's one? All right, so here's one. Here's one where my face is kind of small, and I want to show
bug report needs better corgi support.
better
Fair
corgi
enough.
support. Yeah. Well, okay. So here's a bigger one, and we'll say Jason. All right. Okay, so I built that. Then I've got this. And then I can go back here. I'm going to swap this one out. And let's run it again. All right. So then I can take this. And you see how it cropped to like a square thumbnail?
Perfect.
Whereas
Look, first of all, that is a phenomenal picture right there.
see if I don't add that crop, it squishes.
It gets it the squished, yeah.
What happens here? Well, that's kind of the same.
I also have not played with it yet, but I think there's a really cool feature inside of Cloudinary for face detection and cropping and like editing your transformations around like different face finds inside of an image, which is really cool.
Yeah, there's one that does it, and I can't remember what it is. It's like you have to set the focus or something. Where is it? It's like you can tell it to find the most interesting thing, which is really, really cool. Gravity. Yeah, you set gravity.
The gravity, yeah.
And the gravity is face? No. I know there's a way to do this. Face. Yeah, so you just set gravity face. Watch it. Get out of here. Nonsense. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how to do it. But there's one mode that I saw where it like faces center.
I had seen recently, and it's cool because you can do this stuff in like videos too. Duran, my boss, had sent me over a video they did where they added a mask over one of the Star Wars characters while they were in a scene. I was like, that's so sick.
Oh, that's cool.
Because it did face detection and then placed it based off of where the mouth was.
What did I do wrong?
Build a UI for clicking through these options. Which options? Like transform options?
Yeah. This would be so cool if there was a way to like hit these options and like see the preview auto-generated.
So it's funny. I've been up till literally like 4 or 5 a.m. every day bugging Chris and telling him about my accomplishments that I shouldn't be awake that long trying to do. We discussed a little earlier how I've been talking about this kind of social media card generator.
Mm-hmm.
So I took from Ryan Warner's social media templates on Figma and basically started creating ways to automatically upload to your Cloudinary these blank canvases and then generate different different views of those canvases. So like say I have an IG photo template, right? Like a square photo template. It would allow you to click through options and preview and save PNG versions of those templates with all of these options on top of it, kind of like your get share image. So I am kind of pseudo building a UI for looking through transformations and being able to preview them.
This is maybe it just doesn't detect my face. Maybe that's the problem. Because this
I know it does have slight issues with like side faces, like when you're not looking, like when it's not at the camera, right?
Okay.
Just what I've seen so far.
Let's try one more. So that one's kind of side face. I've also got a beard, and that's tricky. So let's do this one. I love that this is so much easier than having to open up the console already.
Yeah.
And then I go here, change it to mug. Right? Okay. And then I'm just going to edit it out here instead of having to go mug. There it goes. See? All right, so check this out. So if I take out this to like fill, then you see how it does that, but if I change it to the thumb, I think it'll automatically crop to face. No. So you go to crop thumb and then gravity face, and then it finds my face. So you get like you can use this where you have a full scale picture of somebody, but when you know it's going to be small sizes, you can zoom in on their face, and Cloudinary will just like do that stuff for you. And then if I want to do a cool effect, like I can go like grayscale, I think it is. and I'm very artistic.
Ooh,
Yeah, right. It's just
that's
cool
classic.
because it's like I like it. Did a whole bunch of silly ones on the Gatsby transformer thing, but like you can do so you create avatars by zooming in. You can do this like really wild stuff where you change the colors, and like I placed a beard over the top of Marissa's face here. And it also works on like animated GIFs. Check this out. So this is an animated GIF that is lazy loaded. So if oops, that was the wrong thing to do. I want to go here. So if I hard refresh, you see how that fades in? Did you see that? Look at it.
It's
Oh,
freaking
it's so
sick,
good.
dude. That's freaking sick, dude.
But it's really, yeah, like, and I can do that because we just grab that the different sizes, and like I straight up URL encoded, base64 encoded a tiny version of this GIF that's like teeny tiny, like 30 pixels wide.
Wow.
And then it gives us an animated preview.
Yeah, I think that's something that I really am interested in diving into as I work there, is what we can do with and Nick is actually working on something around this right now, he's talked about it a bit in the Discord. Being able to create GIFs from uploaded videos and basically using Cloudinary's API to do so. I think that is a niche place that is so like interesting to travel down right now. Like, being able to edit and add all of these transformations on the fly from videos to GIFs and then edit the GIFs on the fly. Like that would be so cool.
Yeah. I like that
GIFs.
there's a battle of GIF versus GIF happening. It just feels weird to say GIF.
It feels weird to say GIF for me.
I think you're wrong. What am I doing?
I'm okay with that.
That's not what I wanted to look at. I'm going to leave that up so I remember to link to it, though. Yeah. So then.
Team Dom. That's what I like to see in the chat. Can we get some Team Doms in the chat? I like that.
Get out of here.
Let's go.
Get out of here.
First the shirt and
Nice,
now
Prince.
the pronunciation. Another Team Dom. We're out here, baby.
What is it?
Let's go.
No.
Team Dom. Okay.
I should have known if I let you on my show this was going to go this way.
You should have known. Jason is wrong. It's graphical, not junior graphical. Oh, what a time to be alive.
I'm unimpressed with all of you.
It's happening. It's happening in the chat.
All right. So
oh man.
Yep. There's going to be many new clips from this episode, I think.
Oh, I hope so. By the end of the stream, I'm getting a full powered let's go. Like don't you
It's just steadily powering up. Somebody
dude,
yeah, somebody do the power up. Where's the power up? Left. There we go. Powering up. Yes. What do you want to do next? What should we actually do here? I feel like
funny.
we've gone so far off.
Well, so do you mind if we segue a bit?
Yeah, whatever you want, man.
Do you want to check out my React hooks?
Yeah, I want to check out your React hooks.
Dude, let's do it. I have a module on NPM already.
All right, tell me where to go. What do I do?
So, if you want to see the module itself, we can go to the NPM package, or we can just install it in a React project and start using it.
Let's take a look at the package. I can send a link. What's the package called?
It's just use Cloudinary, use-Cloudinary.
Might not be indexed yet. So
yeah, my SEO is definitely ass. So
there we go. All right.
I don't know how we got to 134 downloads. I have not talked about this openly yet.
Yeah, so actually this is a question that I think is worth talking about because there's a concern, like, would you be giving up control to the service if you do something like this? Like, are there risks associated with using something like Cloudinary versus using something kind of in shop or in app?
So we talking about like having control of your own assets in a personal project, like being able to download them and having them locally, or are we talking about like security issues? Like, I guess it really depends.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So one of the things that I do think is worth bringing up is like we showed, where was it? This one? Yeah. So here, this one is like a photo that's edited and all that stuff. But so if I go in and I just mess with somebody's URL, I get the appearance of being official, but I could like make it say something terrible down here. So what's the move for controlling something like that? I mean, now I know that like any image can be tampered with. So it's a little bit of like a
like anytime you put an image public, right? Like that gives way for that kind of interaction. I think, what I really like about Cloudinary as far as like quote unquote control is that, you're going to be using like as far as security is concerned, your images and your assets are very safe. But I really think at this point, right, like if you're putting images up on the internet and they are public, you're dealing with that type of risk no matter how you utilize your images and creating them, right? Like there's always a way that I could literally save that image locally, head into Figma, Photoshop, whatever, and do that same type of tampering. As far as your account is concerned, it's nice because you do have configuration to make sure that it is your account that you're interacting with when you're using the APIs for the most part. But, beyond that, I don't think there's much that you can do once an image is public or a video is public anyway. So
and
I don't know. I definitely would love to learn more about how to prevent things like that. But,
so like Chris in his collection talks a little bit about this because what he does is he puts these behind like a signed URL. So this whole thing is generated, but you have to like have a signed use of the function for it to work, which is kind of cool. So it's a little less like, I think this is this one of the ones that's actually generated? Yeah, this is cool. So this one is this one lets you just modify the text, I think. Or wait, does it? See, yeah. So this one, it redirects and gives you this big old URL.
Yeah.
That doesn't have access to the
actual.
It kind of like hides what the stuff was. It like
hides it behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a hashed version of what the URL would look like.
But so with the original version, if I were to mess with it, I can say something like, let's see, here we go. I'm going to just mess with this, and we'll say,
that is an interesting point, though.
Oh, no.
I'm glad that was brought up.
I broke it. I probably broke it with like URL encoding or something because I put an apostrophe in there. But anyways, that's not the point. That's not what we're here to do today. But these are like, so there are ways that you can work around this. You can use signed URLs and this one calls a serverless function as part of actually like building the image, which is a really cool thing. So there are ways around that problem.
I think that's the whole signed area, right? Because you can do unsigned uploads and most of the image stuff for interacting with URL building is for the most part unsigned. You just have to pass in the cloud name. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a give and take, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. Like so it depends on how much work you want to do to secure the stuff. Like
right.
In my case, for my site, I just assume that it's a lot of work to go to troll me, and like there's not a lot you could do by changing what one of my open graph tags. If you're putting in that type of work
to troll me, I mean,
yeah, whatever. I mean, you're probably one of my friends is my assumption, right? And so it's you're probably in the chat is more likely. But so that this sort of thing is definitely like it's something that is worth keeping in mind and something to be mindful of, but not necessarily something to like stress about.
Yeah. I mean, if you're using images in any way and that's a stress for you, I definitely would, I would definitely think about that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So then so I've got the hooks, but I need to actually install them. So I'm going to where do I want to do this?
So we could even just do like spin up a code sandbox, right?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll do a code pen because that's the one that I know.
Cool.
And then in here, can I just add? Can you do node stuff?
So that's why I said code sandbox, is I am totally ignorant on code pen setup.
Great. Yeah, I don't actually know. So I think I have an account. Let's find out. I do. Good.
Oh, you have an account.
I'm going to create a new sandbox. Oh, wait, I'm not logged in. Now am I logged in? My sandboxes. Create sandbox. And then I want it to be like a React. Do a React one.
Yep.
Get out of here. I don't want to see any of these. Can I make them all go away? No, of course not. Then I'm going to add a dependency. And the dependency that I want to use is use Cloudinary. All right. Hey, look at you.
Look at that. Is that me?
That's you.
What a guy.
And
Let's
now
go.
I'm going to import use Cloudinary from use Cloudinary. And then what do I do with it?
So it'll actually be, we actually export straight use image and use upload from use Cloudinary.
Oh, okay.
So
use image.
So we allot you, I basically wanted to set it up where I start wrapping kind of the same thing I started doing with the GraphQL endpoint. I start wrapping all of the niceties and the utilities that the SDK gives and creating little utilities on top of it. So you see you've got the use image, and then I started creating functions within the use image that you can basically use. It gives you back this Cloudinary object that has these methods attached to it.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm gonna run Cloudinary.
So right now you'll just need const Cloudinary equals use image,
and then I need to set my
cloud name.
Okay.
And for the chat, these are very much work in progress. Very little docs. Will be something that I'm working on pretty adamantly.
All right. So let's. How do I make this? Can you go wider? There we go.
Should be able to.
So I'm going to do something like image source, and I do cloudinary.getImage, and then I just put in any public image ID, and I can transform it a little bit. All right. So
this utilizes all of the transform options out of the box.
Cloudinary image or
Cloudinary.getImage.
.getImage. And then the public ID is going to be, let's see, it was LWJ, Dom Cloudinary, and then we had a Corgi.
Ben Lannon, always with the support. My guy.
What was my cool Corgi? It was just called Cool Corgi. I'm going to use Cool Corgi. And then transform options.
Yeah, transform options.
All right, so we'll set a width of like 500, and we'll just start there. So let's image source.
And then another cool thing is that we're using React Query under the hood. So it should, when you're handling with like, so another weird thing about the JS SDK is it doesn't let you do the search API that they have. So I had to kind of work around that and create a search API through tags. So basically every time you create an image with our use upload, it'll auto append a tag to it. And then that's how we'll be doing like grouped images. And then I give the React query variables of data and status to basically be able to hook into caching and stuff like that. So that'll be a super powerful piece of this hook for sure.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm just gonna set a max width here, and then that gives us that's a pretty cool looking Corgi.
Yep.
I mean, I'm into this. This is really handy. It's really nice that it just like works this way. And then if I
was about to say, I really want to do that, right? Like I really want to make the barrier of entry just so low.
Yeah. And so if I want to do something wild, what if I do like, let's set the height to 500. We'll set the gravity.
Holy buckets, did that just work?
To face, and the crop to fill. that work? I don't think it likes that one.
So I think the problem there is that I'm setting an auto crop of scale on each transformation, because another kind of nuance with the JS SDK is that it's the only SDK that Cloudinary has where you have to specify the crop specifically. So I was just setting it on everything so that you could do width and height on the fly. So I'll probably take out that crop scale auto set and have the user do it. I think it's failing on crop.
Oh, and it just like skips the crop altogether?
I think because it already is sending a crop in. Like if you look at the library itself, when it's calling the cloudinary.url on the internally, it's auto passing all of the options and hard passing crop of scale.
I got you.
So I think it's getting confused on the crop.
I understand.
That's probably what's happening. So hey, thanks for pointing that out.
What about that one? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can mess with some of the other settings here. And like there are so many. I keep using the same few because those are the ones that I remember, but like we can do all sorts of cool stuff. Like if I want to round the images, yeah, I can just set a radius on it.
A radius, yeah. So yeah, I think what's really going to be important here is adding in kind of the named presets that we were talking about earlier as options. Like, oh, you want to grayscale and because there's always going to be customizations that you need to make. But I think kind of to Chris's point earlier about having like a drop down of like transformations that you can do, I feel like giving a drop down of a list of named transformations out of the box is something that's going to make this so much easier, because I said, I feel like the barrier of entry becomes like, what are all of the options which I can transform with? How do I specifically name them? What are the options to those options? Like, you know, there's definitely a lot of area for rabbit holes there.
Yeah, for sure.
That I hope to address with these hooks.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like, again, this stuff is just so freaking cool and powerful. So, you know, I'm super on board with this. I think it's just such a cool thing to have to play with and like be able to do this stuff quickly, because one of the parts that I always found kind of challenging about Cloudinary is that the URL stuff is so flexible, but it's kind of hard to remember. Like effect is E underscore and radius is R underscore.
Right, exactly.
And then there's like text and stuff like that. So having access to a more like descriptive options object really makes things easier.
For sure.
So I definitely dig that. And yeah, so I mean, there's so much cool stuff going on in here.
I think something to point out too, the really cool thing about the use upload hook, which we probably won't be able to do today because you have to set up a serverless function for it, is the fact that you can pass in a serverless endpoint. So like I use Next.js a lot, and I just set up an API route inside of my Next that handles as a serverless endpoint, and I can hook into signed uploads without having to create my own like hashed SHA algorithm and ordering. Like there's a lot that you have to do to set up uploads on the client side by just using their SDK or their endpoints. Our upload hook is going to just allow you to throw in an endpoint and immediately be able to create signed uploads.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I can't wait to show off. I have it ready. I'm gonna show you a link real quick.
Yeah.
I have so last night I stayed up super late working on this, and I just deployed it so that just in case we wanted to go into it today, we could. That is the beginnings of my social media template generator. And you'll see that we already have all of the templates generated. So these assets right now live inside of my Cloudinary account, right?
Okay.
And are already like, these are small versions of the actual dimensions. And then if you click customize template, it starts adding overlays of the text that I have sent in. So we'll be able to start choosing ways to generate text overlays, add logos, stuff like that. Basically, a lot of what your work was doing and what Chris was doing, I'm trying to use Ryan's Figma work to kind of create this super easy flow and like oh, I have a brand that I want to do. Here's all of the things that I need to add to all of my branding.
Yeah. What is it? It's brand Figma. I think that'll work. Where did it go? There's that like Figma template, but I can never find it. Oh, here's the link. Maybe.
Ryan Warner's the man. I love that guy.
Yeah.
He's killing it. He's absolutely killing it.
This is like a weird Twitter clone. That's very odd. Ryan, drop a link to your thing. Here it is.
I was gonna say I can send it.
Yeah.
I have it up.
Okay, yeah, I need that because I'm clearly not getting this right. How do I get out of here? What is going on? Oh my god. Something is I'm trying, y'all. My oh god. Something just went wrong with my my chat window, and it's showing me like an overlay that I can't seem to get away from. There it is. Okay. All right. I fixed it. Yeah. So this is very good. Especially this social branding template is super useful for if you want to.
Did you get his? Oh, you did. You did get to it.
Yeah, I got there eventually.
All right.
After Chris reminded me like 7 times. Yeah. So that is all good news. And yeah, so this is super cool too. Like this is like, I'm really excited to see what happens with this.
Right.
Like,
and this will eventually be that UI that allows you to click on different options, generate previews before you have to add them, things like that make creating a branding area really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're just going to be able to have a UI to do it. I'm really excited to get this off the ground.
Yeah, it's super cool. All right, so what else should we cover? I mean, if you feel like we've hit a stopping point, we can also call it. But if you want to show some more stuff off, we can show some stuff off.
So I think this is like, I mean, as far as showing, the reality on why I wanted to show both the hooks and the GraphQL stuff was this is how you can start interacting with Cloudinary in your own like specific ways without having to use my hooks, without having to use my GraphQL endpoint. You can go and start doing just this with the SDKs that are currently there. It's done a lot for me in teaching me about the internals of Cloudinary, which is really cool. But it also really helps you set up, like, I have that hooks package, but in a current personal project, I'm extending that hooks package to include that hooks package right now on my end is where all of that social media generation is coming from. So that is building a Canvas API. Like, it has a little canvas built into it. It draws to the canvas, creates a rectangle, fills it with white, streams it to a data URL, and I'm doing that all inside of the hooks, right? Like, so you can take my hooks and start building in your own personal optimizations over the SDK. And I think that's really the important part, right? Is these are the easier ways to get started with Cloudinary. I think one of the things that I have run into the wall of that I know a lot of other people have is that it's a little overwhelming to get started. So I'm trying to break that wall and really lower the barrier to wanting to play around with Cloudinary.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a powerful thing. I mean, I think this is one of those cases where like the tool is so big that it's a little hard to get your head around at first.
Right.
But if you just scope it down to the stuff that you need, like you need a place to keep your images. It's not really practical after a certain size to keep images in GitHub because it just takes forever to clone. It takes forever to build. It just you start to see the limits of strictly file-based site management. It also allows you to automate all this work that you should be doing every single time that you have an image. You should always size it down to the right dimensions for where it's going to be displayed. You should always try to optimize for quality. You should theoretically always be doing something like lazy loading and serving WebP if you can, and falling back in ways like all of that stuff is stuff that we should do every single time that we ship an image to the internet. But it's hard. Takes a long time. It's busy work. It's boring. So where Cloudinary really starts to shine is when you look at like how much of your image work could be a pipeline, could be automated, could be something that just happens every time that you save an image. And if you start looking at your workflow like this, it's like, okay, I'm gonna throw every image that I get, instead of saving it to Git, I'm gonna upload it to Cloudinary and I will store a reference to the Cloudinary URL in Git. that's the only functional change, and all this busy work disappears.
Yeah, and like the load that your website has to deal with is virtually, is so much smaller now because it's really just dealing with the most optimized versions. And I think that's, for me, like I said in the beginning, like you never know how much you deal with media until you look at how you're dealing with media, right? Like until you look at how you're dealing, like, are you doing a lot of CSS to try and control your media? Like and that's gone, right? Like now your image is being brought the exact way that you need it. I see we have a question in the chat. Can you add content to the images uploaded to Cloudinary, like a banner with some slogan fields, which we can show in our template? So exactly what you just saw is basically that. It's the lowest end version. What you saw was those templates generated with two overlays, two text overlays. One was a title, one was a tagline, like how your get share image worked. It also has the ability to add a logo pulled from your account. So you can add overlays, you can add banners, you can add, text, borders, whatever you need.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like to show an example of that working in practice, here's like one of my blog posts. And if we take this over to like the cards dev Twitter validator, I think it is here. If I go in here and get out of town. You're gonna make me log in to use that? All right, let me grab my other browser here. Cards dev here. So I pull this over, and then if I drop this in, it shows like here's the title of the post and here's the tags for the post, and that just works. And then if I grab one of my other posts here and do the same thing, we get the same thing. Now these are automatically generated. So when I go in and look at my my code here, up in the head, I am just generating a Cloudinary URL somewhere here, right? And that content is all being set in the query parameters up here. So there's a whole lot going on. And then if I want to change this to be like, let's see, that's the tagline. So let me come back here and we can say like,
make it say butts.
we can make it say butts. So it's a really, really powerful workflow where, you can just set all this stuff however, and like if I take all this stuff out too, check this out. So if I just go to what the baseline thing is.
Yeah, and to follow up on the question, basically you're styling it all in the URL. Like if you're adding text, you can style the text as it's added to the URL. You can style the, if it's a banner, you can style the size of the banner, the color of the banner. You can add in an image that is a overlay of the banner. Like, there's a lot of customization that happens in Cloudinary, so that you don't have to do all of that, pulling out and styling yourself. And then, like I said, there is an image tag utility off of the Cloudinary package that allows you to generate HTML image tags and add styles to that if you so please.
Yep. Yeah. It's extremely flexible. And can you add custom fonts? 100%. Yes, you can.
Yes.
This one is using a OTF that I uploaded. So this is a font that I bought for use on my websites, and I upload it to Cloudinary, and then I can reference that. And it was uploaded securely, so like only my stuff can access that. So like it's not like somebody could just go, oh, I'm going to download this font. Because it's a secure signed upload, it's then not available for people to get. You have to be authenticated to get it. So like my images can access this font that's uploaded, but like you can't just go download that, which I think is really cool. Like it's a really really nice thing. But yeah. Anyways, so many cool things that you can do with this. It's
definitely a rabbit hole.
Ultrendo, I don't have an interface. I just use a function, but like what Dom is doing in oh man, I have so many things open. In here is basically giving you something like that. Now I don't know exactly what this looks like, but can I just do something like, I don't actually know how this works.
Yeah, so that I think you have to do overlay, and then there's like some madness that you have to do that I'm going to extrapolate away to make it easier to add those types of like easy overlays.
Yeah,
because you have to add an overlay, and then inside of there you define what type of layer it's going to be. Whether it's going to be text, whether it's going to be just a regular layer, an image, stuff like that. But that'll be well extrapolated by the time it becomes like publicly facing.
Yeah, so it'll get there. For now, it's something that you would have to do. Wait, can I just do like a custom transform too? Like, can I do something like this? It just ignores that one entirely.
Yeah, so that's it happening in the Cloudinary SDK. It sees a transform option. Transformation. Yeah.
Yeah. So it uses that, or like if I want to add my overlay, it'll add that. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff that you can do with this. It's super powerful. It's extremely useful. And something that I would highly recommend. Like if you're building a lot of web interfaces and dealing with images, probably you can make your life a lot easier this way.
Yeah. And I'll definitely be updating the hooks package, and if it's something that people want to use publicly, they're more than happy to take suggestions. It's mainly something I'm using for personal projects, but definitely something I want to start showing and allowing people to use. The Cloudinary GraphQL endpoint, I'm going to start hosting that pretty soon as I get search functionality working inside of it, so that people can start messing around and creating their own little sandbox apps. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, exactly. And Ultrendo, to your question, like what's the advantage to hosting the images yourself? The advantage is that once you set this pipeline up, it happens every time. Like I haven't had to create an image for my blog in forever. I haven't had to create a single image for my blog. They automatically get created as soon as I publish. And like the same for like once you've set up what Chris is doing, all of this stuff is being auto-generated for every image. If you need to watermark things, like these watermarks, if I switch this out to the watermark again, that's automatically added every single time. I don't have to go open Photoshop and then save that to be managed on my stuff. So that's kind of where the advantage
and then
starts to come in.
self-optimize.
Exactly. It's you're building a pipeline instead of like you're taking a process, which is every time I have an image, I'm going to do these steps to get it ready for the web. And you're turning it into a pipeline, which is I have an image, make it ready for the web. And I think that's where it really gets powerful.
And I definitely am looking to follow suit with kind of the tools that have been being created towards empowering content creators to not have to use so much time setting up these types of pipelines, or, like that social media image generator. Like I really want to get that to a point where I'm doing it specifically for gamers at first, because I think that's like a really new space that content creators are trying to build inside of. But like even devs who are creating content on Twitch, creating content on Twitter, creating content, you know what I mean? Like I love what y'all have been doing as far as empowering content creators with optimizations and automatic pipelines. And that's kind of the route that I want to go with. I want to show Cloudinary how much can be done for content creators from our platform. And B, I would like to show the content creators how they can use Cloudinary for such things.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, this is all really, really cool. Dom, super excited to see what comes next for
Thanks
you,
a lot.
because I know you're pretty early on. You're like still what, like week 3?
This is week 3. I think I'm coming up on my first month. Yeah.
All right. So, chat, we're gonna start shutting it down. So first of all, Dom, I think you know what you got to do. And chat, in order to get him to do it, you got to bury him in boops. That's how it's gonna work.
Bury me in boops. We got some boops. Let's go with the boobs. Let's go.
All right, y'all. So I'm gonna get us queued up to raid. We're gonna go over and see. InstaFluff, because that's always a pleasure. Make sure you check out the schedule. We've got a really fun one coming on tomorrow. We're gonna have Thor from Stripe back on, along with Nick DeJesus. We're going to be playing with. You can't even. Let me get it above the. Get it above. Look at it. Okay. I love it. Oh boy, I got to put a longer timeout on that corgi stampede. But we've got Thor and Nick coming on tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, so don't miss that one. It's going to be super fun. We're going to be looking at how you can add donation support. So if you are an independent creator, you want to build your own version of Patreon. If you work for a nonprofit or some other company where you want to accept money on either a one-off basis or on a recurring basis, these are all. It's going to be really, really cool stuff. And this is part of a series, right? So Thor is going to come back a few more times after this, and we're going to be looking into all sorts of amazing stuff. I am so pumped about that series. So definitely please come back tomorrow, and don't sleep on this schedule. We've got so much cool stuff coming on: animations, video performance, data viz. This one, if you don't know Anjana, Anjana is one of the best, most educating teachers I've ever met. This episode is going to be off the chains because Observable is also just amazing. It's cool. And then Khalil, it's good stuff. We got lots of things happening. It's going to be amazing. Let's go. We're gonna go see InstaFluff. And Dom, thank you so much for coming on.
See y'all.
As always,
Jason,
it's a pleasure.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Later.